Hey friends and family, I was, yesterday my signal, my internet, everything was just horrible. And I was like, you know what, F it, I'm gonna wait, I'm gonna do all this today. I was gonna do all this tomorrow morning when my lighting was better, I had a bit more patience, when I wasn't going to strangle people. And so, I wanted to talk to you, hello, Anthony Dixon. I wanted to talk to you guys about what happened with AJ. So, okay. This would have been a regular unpopular K-pop opinions video, but that's just a lot, so I thought it would be easier just to go live and save us the whole trouble. All right? I'm going to read you guys an article that I saw on Koreaboo that basically explained the situation. No, come back, come back, come back. I lost the article. Hold on. Okay. AJ. Okay, here it is. And for those of you who don't know UKIS, UKIS is a second-generation idol group. They debuted in 2008. At the time, they had about 7 members, and I don't think they intended to have all the lineup changes that they had. It just ended up that way, and because they work in Japan, which is a country where most idol groups have a graduation system, it became the norm for certain members just to come and go. It wasn't completely taboo to have members come and go. And sometimes you'd have issues with the company, or the company would remove members. There were some cases where apparently that was a situation. I don't know if it was with Xander or another member, but that was a situation where the person was essentially removed from the group. So, to touch upon what AJ said in his article, in the Koreaboo article, all right, I'm going to read it as it's listed. On May 23rd, former UKIS member AJ, who now goes by Shiun, finally addressed something that fans have been curious about for almost 3 years. Why did he leave NH Media and cut off all communication with his former UKIS members back in 2016? Responding to a fan's question through his Instagram story, he posted, and the fan's question was, have you talked to any of the guys of UKIS? The question was, have you talked to any of the guys in UKIS? And his response was, do you talk to people who have irrationally blocked your path, your future? And there's a image that he used behind it, saying some other stuff about don't let people hold you back. In another post, he chose to break his painful silence even further. Instead of talking as an idol, he made things a little more relatable to fans by referring to himself simply as an employee. And in his post, he said, This will be the first and last explanation of the truth, which I have painfully kept silent for years. I believe that trust is a very important issue between an employee and a company. If an employee of a company has worked more than a decade and his hard work has been neglected, and he has realized that his and his company's will is no longer the same, I think he would have no choice but to choose to leave. I also believe that one's dream is priceless and one's future should be respected. It's his life, not the others. Then I would like to ask what this powerless employee was supposed to do if his coworkers irrationally kept him from doing anything for the rest of his contract, even if the employee apologized for resigning and asked for generosity and courtesy. The employee would have no option but to wait and keep silent in order to minimize the pain of others, because speaking the truth is not always the best policy. So I would appreciate it if you could refrain from commenting on the group for those who were hurt by the decision. Refrain from commenting from the group. For those who were hurt by the decision to leave and those who were hurt by the misunderstanding, I am truly sorry. It was not easy for me to speak the truth. So basically, AJ is talking. In AJ's story, he claims that his coworkers, the other UKIS members, were actually the ones to blame for his long hiatus. He mentions that he left his company at one point due to his hard work being neglected, possibly referring to the time he spent studying at Columbia University. According to Shiun, he apologized and returned to the group. His members were irrational and didn't allow him back into the group. Instead, they forced him to wait out the remainder of his contract on the sidelines. Some fans were confused. Some fans commented, "I don't understand how the members could block your future when they didn't even seem to know you were leaving when you left. They weren't aware of your decision, so how could they decide for you?" Another fan commented, "My heart breaks for you. The industry is vicious. You deserve more." Another fan says, "Can y'all leave this man alone? He doesn't owe anything to you and is currently living his life." Someone else said, "OMG, so many years of silence and so many years that all of us thought that your departure was natural and Pacific? I don't know. OMG. OMG, I'm so sorry, dear. You were always my favorite there, and I'm so happy you are okay now and doing new music." So I'm gonna look at this from two sides, all right? I will say it never quite made sense why AJ's attitude had just suddenly turned so hostile towards UKISS. Hello, it never really made sense to me, because if you watch, there were certain lives and where I was watching where fans would ask him, "Have you talked to the UKISS members?" And he's like, "No, I don't talk to them at all." And it seemed that every time somebody would ask him about UKISS, he would get kind of annoyed, or he would get like angry. And it never quite made sense why the sudden anger, Most of the time, most of the UKISS members are still in contact with each other, regardless of past, present, or future. Most of the members are still in contact. So obviously, by his initial reactions that we've seen when asked about UKISS, we never really saw a positive reaction from him. So obviously, there's something negative there. If I were to believe him, I will say this is my hypothesis. Do I necessarily believe that all the members ganged up on him? No. But I do think the leader, Suhyun, had a hand to play in this. Now, if you follow UKISS, I will say every K-pop group leads every K-pop group is run differently. Every leader of the group does things differently, Suhyun is one of the leaders where I will say, I see him, he has a lot more power, he has a lot more influence in the group than I have seen with other groups. He decides who gets what parts. He's very commanding. Like, I can't remember what year this was, but this was somewhere in between Quit Playing promotions and Playground promotions. They were talking about how they didn't realize that June could sing so well. And Suhyun was like, "I'll take that into consideration when I divide the parts next time." And that made me realize, oh, okay, Suhyun's the one, and Suhyun is saying who gets what parts. Okay, I found that a little bit weird, because I've never seen a group really decide who gets what parts. I don't really know how K-pop groups decide who gets what parts. I know with BTS, they said this back during Boy in Love era, that they all just sing the song, and whoever sounds the best, that's who they decide who gets what parts. I know for rappers, it's just like okay, we have this verse, here's the time frame for you to have a rap, so put a rap here. I know that's how rappers do it if they're in an idol group. It's very weird to me. And I also think that the fact that Eli and Kpop left, I'll put it like this. I find it very strange that Eli and Kpop chose to leave after Suhyun went in the military. Suhyun, I don't want to say Suhyun is a tyrant, but I think that he may have had a lot to do with why AJ has a negative attitude towards the UKISS members. And because this is just a hypothesis, so this is just my hypothesis, this is my guess, I don't know if this is true or not, this is all alleged. If I were to have in my opinion, I think Suhyun probably had the issue with AJ, and the other members, because Suhyun is the leader, you can't really disagree with the leader like that, and he's also the main vocal, he's one of the main vocals, so I do think that the other members didn't stick up for AJ out of, I don't want to say fear, but being outranked by Suhyun. I don't want to necessarily believe that the other UKISS members came against him, but I wouldn't question it. I wouldn't be surprised if they did. It's really hard to think about this, guys, because I don't know. You don't want to think of your idols as bad guys. Nobody wanted to nobody wants to believe that idol members have these kinds of conflicts between each other. Like, nobody wants to believe that idol groups fight or that idol groups bully each other, but it happens, unfortunately, you know. Tiara's entire career was destroyed by a bullying accusation. And I also find it weird that AJ was comfortable enough to say this, more comfortable saying this after Eli and Kpop left the group as well. So it's like, there's a lot of things where I just noticed, like, why are you doing that all of a sudden? Like, why are you doing this now? Like, UKIS isn't in a bad position. You know, they're doing their Japan promotions and whatnot. They're not exactly in a bad position they're not exactly in a bad position where they would be failing financially, you know? Japan is the second or third largest music market in the world, you know? So there's a lot of money to be made in Japan. That's why UKIS spends more time in Japan than they do Korea, because Japan is where the money's at. So it's very weird, you guys. I don't know how to feel about this. Even when Eli and Kpop left, it's just like, wait, why? Why are y'all leaving? Where are y'all going? Like, y'all, because those two really, I don't see them do much outside of UKIS. It might just be because Japan's media outlets are separate, but I don't really see Eli and Kpop do much activities outside of UKIS in Korea. It could be a company issue. NH Media could, I don't know how much of this is the company. I don't know how much of this is the members. Like, there's only 3 members left. There's only 3. So, like, and once again, Soohyun does have a very strong influence in the group. So they do work in Japan. So who is to say that they just won't replace them with 3 or 4 other new members? Like, I mean, they could disband, but again, UKIS is not doing bad financially, and none of them. The only member of UKIS that had a strong enough career to survive outside of UKIS was Kevin, and because Kevin, you know, had after school club. Kevin was very active in regards to his solo activities, so he could leave and be fine. You know, the other members I can't really say the same for. Like, over the past few years right around the time AJ left the group, I didn't really see UKIS that active in Korean media. I don't know if that was by choice. I don't know if that was just because of, I don't know why. I don't know. But, you know, and I know they had when was the last time UKIS released a song in Korea? Like, when? And part of me is curious now, because it's like, they've been inactive in Korea for so long. There's definitely music that has been recorded that hasn't been released yet, and Korean music that hasn't been released yet. So if these 2 members left, and there's only 3 members left, and there's only 3 members remaining, what's going to happen? And how is this going to be addressed? Because Soohyun can't address it because he's in the military. He's in the military right now, so Soohyun can't really speak about it. And I know, well, let me rephrase. Hoon had somewhat of a solo career before he came into UKIS, but still, Hoon, this is a lot. This is a lot, you guys. And I don't want to say that. I don't want to believe that, you know, UKIS bullied each other. I don't want to believe that they would go this far. But damn, and here's the other thing. Like, June, for example, June promoted in the unit for a while, so that got UKIS some more attention back in Korea, because he is a UKIS member. So I don't know. This is all I wanted to talk about, though, you guys. Like, I went live solely for this reason, because it's very surprising. Like, what I find unfortunate, I'll probably go live again to talk about this again later. What I find very unfortunate is that a lot of for those of you who are younger fans, you know, and who are like very flabbergasted by the whole Sungri incident, for us older fans, the reason why, yes, we're reacting strongly, but one reason why we're kind of is because we always knew that there was this dark side of K-pop. You know, we always knew there was this dark side, but we just didn't know who was involved. Like, we knew people were involved in gangs. We knew that there might have been some sex trading going on. We knew all of those things, but we didn't know where and who, you know? And the unfortunate side is that for those of us who aren't in Korea, we don't have the same, the media outlets that we have access to don't necessarily provide all the information, you know? In Korea's, the politics of Korea's government and Korea's press is completely different from America's. So like, we don't know what's fabricated and what's true and what isn't true. It's very weird. Like, I think June will continue his solo. I don't know what will happen to the other two. I'm just confused. Same, I'm confused too. Like, for example, like, I'll just say that, like, now that the older groups, I feel like that the one reason why some members were quiet about it is because when you have all that attention on you, all that spotlight on you, and all the money's coming in, you don't really want to talk about the dark side of things because you're, regardless of the dark side, you're still benefiting in some way. And then when things get to a point where you're no longer benefiting from it, that's when we see all this stuff start to come out. Like, most of us didn't think that Sungri had anything to do with the Burning Sun incident originally. And then it just snowballed into this whole prostitution ring. And so it's just like, what the hell? And like, with AJ, like, I never thought of NH Media as a bad company, you know, but with this situation, it's starting to make me question, like, I'll say this. One thing for you new K-pop fans, as much as you guys may think that the big three is abusive, the big three, they have too much money to be, I mean, I'll say SM used to be bad. I'll be frank with you, SM used to be bad. They've gotten a lot better, but the big three has too much money. They have too much money to be abusive. Like, they have the money and they have the resources to take care of their artists a lot better than they have. Now, how they choose to invest that money is where things can get ugly. This is why we have issues with YG, because YG has a really bad, YG's not, in my opinion, YG's not the best in terms of how he invests his money in his company. Where artist Yukis Laboom? Like, I'm looking at NH Media, and really, Yukis was there. I didn't even know AJ felt this way. Same. Like, how could you know? Like, I mean, yeah, you always had this. I mean, part of me also hypothesized that, like, you know, he maybe just doesn't talk to them just because he's not in Korea anymore. Like, there are certain idols who are from other countries, when they go back to their home countries, like, for some people, they don't like me. It's really hard for me to communicate with people who aren't physically in front of me and who don't call me, and well, let me phrase, they aren't physically in front of me, and we don't call, we don't text, and then they form their own social circles in their own individual countries that doesn't really revolve around us anymore. So it's like, I maybe thought maybe that was the problem, you know, and I don't know when the last time AJ was in Korea. Korea's a small country, you know. This whole thing is just flabbergasting to me. Like, no, NH Media is not perfect. Yes, they've had issue with artists getting removed and getting kicked out of UKIS, but I've never expected it to be this way, ever. And it's unfortunate this has to happen. It really is. There's more people coming, and I'm feeling very weird about this. It's very unfortunate that this had to happen, because, like, you wouldn't think this would happen with a group that has the seniority that UKIS has. Like, regardless of who's a new member and who's an old member and who's an original member and who's not an original member, they have that seniority. And honestly, like, I am really... True, yeah. I'm curious to see if they will continue to try to keep making UKIS a thing. I hope they don't disband. I know some people will think, well, there's no more original members. At this point, UKIS has shown that they can survive without original members, and they have shown that new members can help them. They're one of those groups that where new members can help them just as much. I've always been a firm believer that, like, if I was in a group and we lost a member, I'm gonna replace them. Like, I don't think that there should be. I mean, yeah, if you lose a member, you get more money because the money is not divided differently. But I would rather replace them with someone who can fill that void instead of trying to continue without them, because there's a formula that gets made from that original lineup, from the initial number of people in the lineup and the chemistry and who does what, who does who, what, when, where, how, why, and it's just weird, you know? It's really weird. And UKISS has always been a group that has just kept going no matter what. You know, they, at one point in time, there was more new members than there was original members, and they still kept going. They still kept it moving. And also they were in Japan, which their idol culture, most idol groups don't have most idol groups have revolving members anyway. So let's see what UKISS does. Let's see what they do. You know, let's see what happens. Let's see what they do. Anyway, so how's everyone? Who are my people watching? Hello, I see that there's 5 people watching. I don't know any of y'all, so like, what's up? What's up? Like, I wanted to talk about this when this first came out, but like, my computer was being wonky. You know, one of my friends says that she thinks that AJ is doing this all for attention. And I don't know what he has to gain from this. Like, AJ's not really active in the celebrity world anymore. Like, what does AJ have to gain? Like, I mean, some people can say, you know, yeah, he's doing it for attention, but what attention? How does he profit off of this? What does he have to gain from this? Like, it also could be an issue of perspective. You know, one thing that people forget to consider, for example, is that there could be a conflict happening and there's no wrong individual in the conflict. There's just 2 different perspectives of the story, or 2 different perspectives of the truth. You know, one person could be thinking of things that are more logical, and the other person could be thinking of things in more of an emotional context. Like Suhyun seems like someone who's very, I don't want to say hardened, but he seems like he's very just like, he's a businessman. He does what he has to do to keep his group going. He has his life together. Like, he seems like he's very just like, do what I say. Like, he seems like he's very aware of himself, to put it like that. Like, he's very aware of what he wants to do. And like, let me look. Kpop is a Capricorn, so he just cares about business. I don't know, maybe Kpop thought, if I were to guess, I don't think that Eli and Kpop left for the same reasons that AJ did, but maybe like Kpop just didn't. And AJ's a Pisces, oh God. I mean, Eli's a Pisces, Jesus, Mary, and Joseph. Maybe, you know, Kpop recently got hurt, so maybe he left for medical reasons, you know? Or maybe it's just that, you know, honestly, when UKISS got below, when UKISS always needed at least 6 or 7 members to survive. And after they went down to 5, it kind of went there. You know, that's when I think maybe he made that decision to leave, because they couldn't profit as much as a 5-member group. You know, they couldn't perform as strongly as they wanted as a 5-member group. Who's calling me? I don't know you. Who the fuck are you? Okay. But yeah, that's all I really have to say about the situation right now. What do you guys think? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. You know, this is a live Unpopular K-pop opinions. I might just do more of these, you know.